The Batwing awning. I told you I was going to get this thing in. So it came, we assembled it, we put it on the Mini Me, we deployed it. A couple things I'm going to say about this Batwing awning. First of all, it's way cool. It's a very, very cool piece of equipment. It's very well engineered. It's really high quality. It really is. It's a good piece of equipment. It's a good piece of kit, as they might say, eh? Couple of things, couple of issues I have with it using it on my Mini Me. Look at the height. I'm on a Mini Me. I got this mounted on a Mini Me, and I have no problem walking under it. And I'm 6'2". All right, I'm not 6'2". So this is where you really start with your placement. This is how you decide where this thing is going to be positioned on your vehicle. Because you got to wrap around the rear of the van. See? One thing I'm not crazy about is you see that steep angle that this awning comes off of the roof rack. The sliding door is not under the awning. Half of it is. But as it turns out, you're going to be spending most of your time towards the rear quarter. The rear corner, I should say. This awning has a lot of options as well. There's a zipper. You can actually put walls on this thing. You can enclose this. There's quite a bit of space here. This is the Batwing Compact, 6.5 feet long. They also make the regular Batwing, and that is 8 feet long. I might get an 8-footer on here, but I went with the Compact for my testing purposes. Now, obviously, if I was going to mount this for real, I would tuck it in closer to the rail of the roof rack. We left our crossbars long because we weren't sure what we were doing up there. Yes, this could tuck in much tighter over the top of the van, mounted a little bit higher, and it could be a nice tidy package. I'm just a little concerned about my roof mounts. The Promaster roof mounts are not gutsy. Promaster City, I should say. They're not that gutsy. And I'm a little worried about this guy. The way you mount a rack to a Mini Me, I think this is too heavy, and I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to offer this on the Mini Me's. It's too heavy. The roof rack mounts on the Mini Me, on the Promaster City, it's a plus nut. And you're only getting about 1/2 inch to 5/8 of an inch of thread bite. I just don't trust it. I just don't trust it. It's a small screw. It's not meant for a lot of weight. I've got 3 solar panels up there and the rack itself, and I don't want this awning hanging on the side. I'm afraid it's too much weight. So what I did is I decided to get the moonshade as well and test that. The moonshade is much lighter. It's 8.5 pounds. You can tuck it away inside. To take this awning off, if you wanted to leave this awning at home, it's a little bit of work. It's not terrible. It's not super heavy. It is a little bit of a chore to take it off and put it on the vehicle. So it's kind of a semi-permanent install. It's very cool. I really like it. I'm not crazy about the color. I know it's nature, it's natural, but I'd like to see it in a different color. In fact, I reached out to Rhino Rack a while back when I started my Mini Me build, and I asked them if they could make me a special order white Batwing that I would offer with the Mini Me's, and they said no. The moonshade, I think, is a better product for the Mini Me. Let me show you. This is not exactly an installation or a setup video as much as it is explaining to you our custom mounting system for the moonshade. Okay, the moonshade comes with everything you need and a lot of things you don't need if you're putting it on a Mini Me. One thing I'll say about this bag, it's very generous. You know how sometimes you got to put a tent back in its tent bag, and unless you fold it perfectly like it came from the factory, you can't get it back in. Now you're frustrated. This bag is big enough that you could make a sloppy mess of folding this awning up and putting it in there, and it fits. This is a big deal. The moonshade is 7 foot by 9 foot. The company gives you a 7 foot pole to put in the 7 foot side and suction cups, and that's how you mount to a bigger van. But that's not how you need to do it with a Mini Me. We've got options here. Custom mount for the moonshade, specifically for the moonshade. There's a carabiner in each of the 4 corners. As I said, 7 by 9. And here's a bag of stakes. We're not going to use the stakes in the guy lines because we're on a concrete floor in a van shop. When you're out in the field, you use the stakes. So Moonshade wants you to set it up like this. 7 foot across the van, 9 feet out off the side of the van. One thing that you do need to know is you've got to start this procedure in this front corner. And you'll know why in a minute. There's little pockets, little pouches in each of the 4 corners to set these things in. Very easy. Yeah, there's a bit of setup here, but it's not bad. And once you familiarize yourself with it, it's even easier. I'd say it's about the same work as the Batwing, but as you're going to see, the coverage is much better, much better. So now here's the reason why you needed to put this pole coming off the front under this one, because of the way these hooks are configured. The way you clip these things together, the top pole holds the bottom pole down. Then you come around and there's a few little support clips to put on, 4 of them. Very simple, they snap on. All right, that's it basically. And you put up your legs. These legs are adjustable in height. So depending on the terrain you're on, you can get a pretty straight looking awning. And then of course the stakes and the guy lines are when you're out in the wild. That's it. This is nice. This is much better coverage than the Batwing. The Batwing, if you remember, angled off the rear this way. So that door wasn't even covered. And in the front section, same thing. It angled this way, so you didn't have your slider covered. At 7 foot, you've got almost the entire Mini Me covered, and then you go 9 feet out, right? You can set a big table here, big picnic table, and have people on either side of it, a couple of chairs. This is really nice. And the way we designed our rack is that it's high enough that you can leave your door open, doesn't get in the way. If it is raining, we recommend that you keep the door closed. The water will run off the sides though. Now, let me show you what the Humble Road advantage is when you're using one of these moonshades. This is, as I said, 7 foot across the van, 9 feet out. So the way we've got this mount set up, you can actually use the tent either way. You can use it 7 feet across the van and 9 feet out, like I just showed you. Or you can switch it and put it wide along the van and 7 feet out, because our mount is telescopic. And I don't mean we're looking at the stars. I think I've already told you I'm not Copernicus. But we have a telescoping mount for our D-rings, and that means that you can use this awning either way. You don't need the suction cups. You don't need the 7-foot pole alongside your vehicle. Here, look at that now. Now you've got the front door covered. So we're mounting on our D-rings right there. You come all the way down to the other end. Now we're set up for the 9-foot side. You can see we're extended beyond our roof rack because we have a telescoping 80-20 support. Let me come over here so you can see it. See that? Now it looks like we're jousting or we're fueling up in midair, but that is not to be extended when you're driving. There's a knurled knob which locks it in place. But this allows you to use the moonshade in the 9-foot or the 7-foot orientation. And it's a very nice little tidy package. 8.5 pounds. You can store it inside. You're not committed to a heavy awning that's permanently mounted or semi-permanently mounted on the vehicle. See, this is our telescoping rod. So it has a stop, and it can be used for this 7-foot section this way. And then when you want to use it for the 9-foot section, it goes out there. Now, we're going to have a knurled knob right here. Right now, we put in that stop for testing purposes, but when you close it up for driving, you'll tighten it up using the knurled knob. Okay? Pretty cool, huh? Isn't that cute? And yes, for those of you distracted from the task at hand, I am standing on an apple box. 9 feet along the van, 7 feet out, or 7 feet along the van and 9 feet out. Options. You know, as I was taking this thing down, I just came up with another brainstorm. You see how I got these poles angled now? There's a possibility that I might be able to put pockets on the vehicle itself, and then you can use this tent a third way. See that? Right now it's just resting on the body molding, but this is how the larger Fiamma awnings, for instance, this is how they can be set up, where the legs come back and support on the van itself. So that's an option. I don't know if we really need to do that, but I'll kick it around. We'll see what happens.